Guys, so I wanted to make this video to talk a bit about my personal um, opinions and experience with the SWTOR 7.0 and the 7.01. Now that we've had a couple of months with the new update, and we've had some time to really live with the new system and see perhaps what else is in store with the game. So let's start with the good, and then I'm going to go over a few of the more uh, not so great things about the update that I think could use some work. But let's start with my favorite things. So the best thing that I've had the most fun with the new update is actually the new loadout system. I think it's the best thing that has been added to the game in years when it comes to new systems and stuff. It has breathed new life into existing characters for me. It's allowed me to play around with classes that I wouldn't have before, and it's great. It helps a lot with not making everything so permanent and helping you change things around. So for example, this character here, I had played him for a sniper since his creation. You can see here, I played him throughout the whole game with sniper, and sniper is it's a ton of fun. But I had actually ended up with all of my the characters I played the most not being able to stealth. And by the time the new update came out, I had missed stealthing so much. So the first thing I did was I switched over to operative, and it just I love it. And I think the thing that I love the most is that it's not a permanent choice, in that if I'm like, oh no, sniper is actually better, I can just click and go back, as long as I'm subscribed, of course. But yeah, and now I can finally switch some characters to be able to heal, be able to stealth. So it's just fantastic. And even with characters where I haven't dared to switch my loadout, the combat style, like with my main Jedi Guardian, I didn't give him a second combat style, but I used to play him only as a tank. And because with the old system it was so it took too long to switch things around with the disciplines and stuff, I never made any changes, always stuck as a tank. So with the new system, I just made a loadout as DPS, and I was able to play around with a discipline I had never played before, and just so much fun to so easily switch things around. The only thing I'm not really a fan of is that if you switch from, say, a tank to a DPS, you need a completely different set of armor and stuff, and it just fills your inventory too fast. So I think they really need at some point to add either more tabs in your inventory, or just a completely separate inventory just for the armor, like Final Fantasy does. I'm one of the few people that don't really love the Final Fantasy MMO, but they do some things really well. And another thing that this reminds me of is that I really wish that they added the option to play New Game Plus in this game too, because Final Fantasy does it, and it sounds fantastic. You get attached to the characters, and then you just replay it without making a clone, like I have with SWTOR. And I'm thinking of making a third clone, and I don't like that. Anyway, so let's move on to some other things that it's a mixed bag, and most people haven't. With and it's right that they hate the new gearing system because we had such a cool and simple system with a 6.0. It was really easy to just, even if you had no idea, you naturally got better gear as you played. But now there are multiple paths and 4 or 5 different currencies, and it's just not a lot of fun. But so there is a huge learning curve with this game and its new gearing system, which didn't really have to be this way. And it's really a shame because even if we have a new player and they just speed through to level 80, they will maybe suddenly have a really hard time understanding what they need to do. And that's why there are so many videos talking about the gearing alone, because it's just suddenly so complicated for no reason. Um, so that's one huge thing here. Like, once you understand what you need to do, like with my other video, basically, once you hit 80, play Starfighter, go to 326 quick, and you are okay, basically. But yeah, until you get to that point where you understand, oh, there are different paths. There is a conquest path, there is a PvP path, there is a flashpoint path, there is the operation path. Like, this, it didn't need to be this complicated, especially since it's only for operations that the gear actually becomes better. So yeah, it's just completely unnecessary, and I wish they had simplified it. Like, it's fine now. I understand everything, but I missed I used the first couple of weeks just trying to figure things out, making blog posts talking about it. Just, oh yeah, I figured out that that Thirsian is gonna get me more, and I wasted. You know, it's not great. Um, Other than that, that's the main thing, the first thing that comes to my head. And despite my apparent obsession with gearing right now, because it's basically the only thing left to do, you might be surprised to hear that I play this game as a solo mostly, and for the story. But due to the content of the expansion, I don't really have much else to do right now. Um, and it brings me to my other point here, that if you are disappointed with the first burst of story content, I think that's completely valid. They're saying, oh, it's gonna come out, it's gonna be like updates, like with the chapters. Okay, that's valid. When? Because right now we've had so little communication when it comes to the story, and it really worries me as to when exactly we are supposed to expect the next story update. Like, I bought a 2 months subscription just for this expansion, and I thought, okay, I'll have some story to go through with all of my characters and stuff. And then the story was done in 2 hours max. So you can understand that if I only wanted to play the story, if I didn't like get into the mindset of getting the new gear and stuff, I would have run out of things to do in a couple of days. And that's definitely not great. Like, even with the worst expansion of the game, the worst considered expansion, at least, Maked, we had an entire new planet to go through, and its main story bit took us in a different part of the planet. And it just, even though the actual quality of the content wasn't, not many people liked it, at least it felt like a proper expansion, you know? And that's not, I mean, I really wouldn't mind if we had some clear communication about when we should expect the next story bit. I imagine it might be with 7.1, but we have no idea when it's going to come out. They've said that 7.02 will have the weapons in Outfitter finally being a thing. That's awesome. We, but again, we don't know when that's going to happen. So it's just a lack of knowledge and communication that just worrying. I'm not attacking the dev team or anything. It's just that the message it gives is that, something is wrong. Like, we should be, the future of the game is not looking great. Like, we had this amazing trailer with the Legacy of the Sith, and then after that, of course, we are going to be disappointed with the release. Not only that, but we've had bugs, like big bugs, not just, tiny things that you can easily pass through, that made it into the live game. Even now, for example, sometimes the currency window just completely messes up. You see placeholder text, now it works. But sometimes when you just open the inventory, you're like, let me see, and it's just placeholder text and it's completely messed up. The preview window for armor sets is sometimes messed up. Actually, I think it happens every single time. Let's see. Yeah, every single time you open the preview window, you cannot zoom in properly, and this is a surprising thing, and it just, it gives me red flags that this is a bug that always existed in the PTS, in the playtester server, right? And it always was gone on when it came to the live update. But now it's here to stay. Apparently, we've got a patch and they still haven't fixed it, and it makes me think like it's as if they had um, perhaps some maybe key members of the team not being available, like the people that were in charge of just fixing those bugs that always were on the PTS. And now we get some bugs that we've never gotten before. So it just, red flags. And it's, as somebody who is going to keep playing because I love the story, it just worries me a little bit. Yeah, that's. I don't want to end on a bad note, but I mean, I would love to talk about the story because I play for the story. I'm attached to the characters. I've had this character for years. I've had my Jedi main for years. I'm not going to stop playing. I'm not the type of player that will be like, oh, I'm canceling my subscription. I'm done with the game. Blah blah blah. Okay, even if they mess up everything, I want to see the story, so I'm gonna keep playing. It is what it is. But the the best, the trailer was the best part about the expansion so far. It ends on a cliffhanger, and we have no idea when we're supposed to see the rest. It just, I have nothing more to say when it comes to this. There is nothing more to say, and that's really, really sad for me as a story player. But that's basically all I want to say. I think I went through everything. Let me see my list. Yeah, loadouts, that's fantastic. Changing clashes, that's great. The gearing, the learning curve. Bugs. Yeah, and the non-existent story. But yeah, I'm hoping like my worries and my red flags are just completely misplaced. Maybe they're just really working hard, and they're just, they don't mind not having some communication with the players, and then suddenly a huge burst of content is gonna come out. Just they prefer to have it all in one go and everything will be fixed. But in the meantime, of course, I have nothing else to do but work on some gearing, and I'm even done with that, and then worry. So that's basically it. I don't know if you would like to share some thoughts on that as well. I've talked about this so much, but I wanted to, have it all in one place. Maybe I'm going to share this with my friend who still hasn't played the expansion, and I think he had the right idea, because the worst case scenario, he just plays when more content comes out, and that's actually a good thing. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.